and then I saw a fleet of puppies just walking by, and I couldn't help myself. I just kicked one and ran. All right, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of We Got Your Mail. This is the part of the show where we take your viewer questions, your comments, your concerns about what the hell is going on with everything T3 Medias and in the world of Hollywood and Hollyweird and all that good stuff. And we talk about it a little bit right here. And I'm Chris Fagan, as you guys know. That's Amy Newman. There she is, throwing the chunk in the deuce, as we say in my hood.
It sounds like a slang term for pooping.
How dare you? That's my slang. It does sound like pooping. Chunk in the deuce. Oh God, totally wrong.
Chunk of deuce.
There's my 80s and 90s all gone now. But hey, it is what it is. It's probably why that gang is not as popular as they used to be on it. What was that movie called? I forgot. I'll think about it later. But let's get into the show, guys. We've got about 10 questions that we've got keyed up here, and we're gonna just answer them right here on the show. So if you again, guys, if you want to get one of your questions on the show for us to talk about, put it in the box. Send it to us, t3medias.com/contact, or add us on our social medias at T3 Medias on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and the rest. And you can also, when we are live, you can hit us up on the live stream super chats and on Streamlab Tips, or become a sponsor. Remember, guys, you can always check us out on the podcast. So you can check us out on iTunes and on SoundCloud. So let's get right into it. Like I said, we have about 10 questions that we're going to talk about. So let's get into it right now. What is the first one?
I feel really good about how I contributed to that conversation. 10. So we've been chatting Supergirl casting. And Outdated Leon responded, I mean, if I can handle Supergirl being called Kara in her civilian form, Kara Danvers instead of Linda Danvers in the TV show, I can handle she not being blonde.
I mean, you can and I can, but there's a lot of people out there that seems to be going crazy about that whole thing.
Are people mad she's not blonde?
So The Flash is now going to have a scene with Supergirl. I think they're cutting out Ray Fisher's Cyborg and replacing it with a new Supergirl. And this up and coming star in the making. I think she's on a soap opera, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Sasha Calle? She was chosen to be Supergirl. She's Hispanic. She has brown hair. Her hair looks just like your hair color, but
I'm glad I could be here.
Supergirl is I mean, yeah, you were. I mean, I heard you were right. If she would have turned it down, you would have been the next phone call.
I was. I am still waiting for that call.
It's
telling me I can get Supergirl?
It's done. It's did you miss the audition?
I gotta go call my agent.
Oh God! But she got picked, and at first I was like, dude, they're gonna dye her hair. If she's going to be Supergirl, and if they go the traditional blonde hair, they have hair dye. But a lot of people were
wigs. I mean, so many actors are wearing wigs and stuff anyways, even if it looks relatively similar to their hair.
And I'm not saying that the question that we have right now, he's not one of them that was griping about it, but there was a lot of people on there. It was like, this movie is gonna suck. I'm not gonna. This isn't even a Supergirl movie. This is the Flash. I'm like, it took me a while to think about this, but I'm like, okay, but maybe the reason why they didn't care if the actor was blonde or not was because, well, for one, it doesn't matter because, like you said, wigs and dye, and two, if we want to be technical about it, when Supergirl is Carol Danvers or whatever her secret identity is, she's usually wearing a brunette wig. So maybe they just wanted a person that didn't need to wear a wig when she's in her secret identity, and the Supergirl part of it is that's when she is wearing the wig or whatever. I guess, I don't know, or maybe it just didn't matter to them. Whoever crushed it in the audition.
Honestly, probably just, I don't know. That feels like a very coded, like, are you mad that she's not blonde, or are you mad that she's not white?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think if people want to get all technical about it, I can go into the whole like the racism. Well, this is the human race, people.
On a similar topic, Andrew Sweeney dropping in, just saying, let's hope Sasha Calle. I've been doing Duolingo. I'm trying to use it. Can measure up better against Melissa Benoist than Ezra Miller could against Grant Gustin.
Melissa Benoist is the current Supergirl on the
TV,
CW show, yeah. And her and Grant Gustin team up on the TV show, and Ezra Miller is the movie Flash from the Justice League. Right. So she would be. So I guess that was the statement. Let's just hope that her and Grant, Melissa and Grant would be better. I guess technically would be better than these two movie versions of them, or let's just hope that the movie versions can hold a candle to the TV versions. I don't know. Look. It's a bigger budget.
Feels weird to me.
I don't know why we're even arguing about these things. Is
it them older?
No, they all seem around the same age. Because it's a different universe. I mean, they never do mix the TV versions and movie versions. I mean, that's the same thing. There's a different man playing Superman on the TV shows. I mean, Henry Cavill isn't.
Well, I would just like to let the record show that I don't like that. My brain is very simple and it gets confused. If you don't like, there's something you might like. Last year, or was it last year? It was when they did their crossover TV shows, when all the superheroes had to team up again. They had this whole like multiverse thing that was happening, and Grant Gustin, the TV Flash, I think we talked about this before, met Ezra Miller. That they did meet. So wait, no, I like that even less. That just
it was hilarious because it was after the whole multiverse thing was solved, but something happened where one last time these two Flashes met, and it was just so funny because the TV. I don't know if you remember the costume of the Flash TV show. You know how his look is just like a rubber, like a suit, you kind of just rubbery kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Let's just pretend like you did. But
I have Google image search. I'll figure it out.
I believe you. But the movie version, it looked like it's like a suit of armor almost. And they mentioned that.
Big budget.
Big budget, right? So the TV Flash was like, "I love your suit, man. It looks safe." And the way he just complimented him, he's like, "I love yours. It's all snug." And it's like, "Yeah, it looks like it breathes." And that was the conversation. So you might go Google it. It's funny.
I'm just a simple girl. I like one person playing one character at a time.
Then you're gonna hate the multiverse of madness when all that stuff happens after Wanda Vision.
I'm gonna be that asshole in the theater. Like, what? I thought, when are we?
So that's not. Robert Downey Jr. comes back and they're like, it's a different Robert Downey Jr. from another universe to help us out in our universe. Like, no, he died. This is stupid.
Yeah. Also on the Supergirl casting, Zero St. Clark Zero asks, can you explain why there have been no traditionally black characters portrayed by white actors?
Yeah, that was one of the threads that was happening in that little thing, and it was let me give you a little history about what happened with this guy. So I gave him an example. I gave him like 3. And then he did what a lot of guys that are trying to, because I get so, and you've been
I was like, I feel like there is a version of this where someone is genuinely asking the question.
No.
And I don't think that's what this is.
No,
it's never just the actual question of, I genuinely don't understand. Could you explain this?
Yeah. and maybe this could have been that one of those situations where they genuinely did not know, but when I gave him the examples, because it wasn't even a conversation.
I'm so sorry.
She's allergic to the BS that happens sometimes on the channel. Because
I'm allergic to questions when you don't want to hear the answer.
Yeah, because let me give you guys a little history on it. Amy's been very good at keeping me from like going crazy on the comment sections and stuff. But ever since she's got here, she's been like, Chris, you need to You're at like a level 7.
We try not to feed the trolls here.
You need
If
to
you're
tone it
just
down.
trying to be hateful and negative, we have better things to do with our time, right, Chris?
But every now and then, sometimes a Zero Saint Clark might pop up, and it wasn't like his question was starting off too bad, but I could tell where he was going. He was having another conversation, I think, with the first question that we got. I think they were having a back and forth. And I interjected because I didn't know if anybody would have an example off the top. So I gave 3 examples right off the top. And immediately, Mr. Clark then informed me of the rules. So the question was, can you give me any examples? I gave 3 examples. Then it was, no. You going back in that far back in the past doesn't count. And I'm like, wait, okay, hold on here. You ask me something legit, and then you try to set boundaries on it. So then you already knew, and
it's like don't
like
almost
talk
history
about
is incredible. It's like a huge factor in why that kind of casting has become unacceptable. Like you can't say like, oh, but don't actually turn to history to explain this at all.
Exactly.
Like
Give me one.
Largely why we need to sort of set these boundaries, and there are sort of the social norms in place that we have because of
what happened in the past.
Precedent.
Oh yeah. Of perfect examples of it happening
Black
for
actors
decades.
not getting their due, so.
And yeah, exactly. And I knew it was going there, and so sure enough, that's exactly where it went. It was almost like being in a history class. Give me one good example where minorities were treated badly. Don't bring up slavery. That's exactly how it felt. like what? So
I think we could still find a couple.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, okay, so I didn't know that the rules were I couldn't go back 10 years, 20 years, and even not going back that far, I still was able to come up with some good examples. But then the retort came back to, once again, it was, well, how would you feel if Black Panther, T'Challa was cast by, I don't know, name any white actor, or just the examples just got really ridiculous. What if Martin Luther King was played by Tom Hanks or something like that? Okay, so that's usually what kind of gets my attention. We're always talking about fictional characters. If Superman can be played by a black guy, yes, because Superman isn't real.
Yeah.
Can Supergirl be a brunette? Well, yeah, okay, because if she's gonna be blonde, then that actress can dye her hair. I said Scarlett Johansson isn't a real redhead, but you enjoy her as Black Widow in the Avengers. I mean, they have dye. But then when you give these logical examples that are legit, then the response is always something crazy like, well, what if Martin Luther King was played by? I'm like, that is never an example. I'm like, guys, just so you know, for this channel, if you want to have legit conversations and we don't have to agree on everything. I would rather be in a room full of people, like 100 people that I don't agree with, that we're still actually able to be, enjoy the conversation and it flow, versus being in a room full of a million people who 100% agree with me, but are trying to force me to be extreme all the damn time. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
I'd rather have interesting conversations, but the second the conversation gets, if you're trying to be trolly and you're trying to...
It's like, what's that thing that's like, I feel like there's something on the internet where it's like, if you have to compare the person you're arguing with to Hitler, you've already lost. It's like, if you are asking about casting a white man about Martin Luther King, you've
already lost. That question, that example was ridiculous, and that's why Supergirl can be a brunette.
We can have a discussion about race and casting, and I can try to be open-minded to the gray areas and differing opinions.
Right.
You know why a white man can't play Martin Luther King? Don't play dumb with me.
What was another one I saw recently? What if Blade, the vampire in Marvel? What if Blade was cast by a white? Well, we're talking. I mean, you immediately will give me that example. And then but before you set that example up, you will try to tie my hands and say, don't bring up the past, or don't bring up anything that'll explain why that's not. Because I can give you hundreds of examples of when that did happen to minorities in the past. And because you're not seeing it happen today as often as it happened in the past, you're just going to pretend like it didn't happen at all. don't go back beyond 5 years. Now tell me whenever a person was in America was ever, you know, taken from that country and enslaved in this country. I can't do that. You just tied my hands. I can't go back when slavery existed.
And like I said, historical precedent is a lot of the reason behind it.
Exactly. The reason why is happening is because we have plenty of examples of when the opposite happened. Okay, it's as simple as that. I know I went off long on that one.
And again, if they were genuinely asking, if they genuinely wanted to have a conversation about like what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, that's an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff we're happy to discuss. But anyways.
And I won't attack.
I've let you feed the trolls.
Exactly. Yeah, but just so everybody else knows, I won't come off and attack you for having an opposite opinion on it. I genuinely like having these conversations, but if it does get out of control, put the smack down on it. So, all right, what's the next one?
Explaining Zay on Twitter says, "Wait, there's a post-scene credit on Wanda Vision. I think that's post-credit scene, but yes."
Yeah, that was funny. I think that's
there were post-scene credits too. That's the credits.
That's the credits. But I knew what he meant. Yeah, it was
somebody.
It was somebody who legitimately didn't know.
I missed it, and then I asked my boyfriend if it was worth like what I missed. Was it worth? He was like, "No, it's not worth going back. You're fine."
No, yes, it was. It was totally worth it. What, Eric? What the hell?
He told me what I missed. I'm okay with it.
So, there's a question about it.
Here's the thing. The credits on that show are inexplicably like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Like, I feel like the first like 3 episodes, everyone kept being like, there's got to be something tucked away in here. And by about minute 12, you're like, we've been going through a lot of the voice cast of different languages. I don't know what they're going to do.
I was literally about to say that. We've now just translated the credits in Korean, so I don't think they're going to show us anything.
I think I'm going to turn this off. They burned us so bad.
It's only 8 seconds left. I don't think Thanos is showing up in these end credits.
I don't know, man.
So they got us a lot of times, and then for the first time, and I do believe that now there will be end credits on every episode afterwards. But so Eric explained to you what you didn't see, huh? About Monica coming back to the house, snooping around, and then Pietro with his now infamous line, "Snoop is gonna snoop." Now, here's why I say that end credit was awesome. Because Kevin Feige is the master of misdirection. When I think that this Pietro character, whoever this Pietro imposter was, I think that he was under some kind of control of Agatha. But then you remember when she pissed off Wanda at the Halloween episode, and Wanda zapped him. I think
Wanda Vision spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, like 2 episodes ago. I don't care. But at this point, if you're not watching it, then you shouldn't. By the way, then you're probably look. There's a guy out there who's gonna watch it when it's all wrapped up. Look. That's on you, dude. I mean, when football games end, people talk about the score out the next day. It just happens. But spoilers. Sorry. I think that Pietro was freed from the mind control. And I think when he was saying Snooper's gonna snoop, I think he was referring to himself too. Like, hey, I caught you snooping, but I'm snooping too, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. That's my theory. That's just me. But you didn't see the end credit thing, so you don't have you can't give me your 2 cents on that. So
I have no 2 cents to give.
Fine.
I don't feel bad about missing. That's my 2 cents. I feel pretty okay about it.
Chris is getting upset. Okay, let's go.
Paul Thomas asked, why are people calling for Amber Heard to be replaced?
That is a good question. I have no idea. I mean, because of what happened with he was legit, and that's the example of when you legitimately are asking. He was legitimately asking. And I get, maybe he didn't Google it, maybe he didn't doesn't care about the whole drama that's going on with Johnny Depp and her, and I'm envy you, dude, because I kind of wish I didn't know about half of this stuff. But,
I mean, the short version is there were abuse allegations levied against Johnny Depp.
And their divorce.
He got pulled from Fantastic Beasts, one of those sequels, as a result. The tables at this point have turned, and abuse allegations have now been raised against Amber Heard.
Yeah. So now people want her to be removed from her franchises, especially because they're both with Warner Brothers. They're both Fantastic Beasts and Aquaman are produced by Warner Brothers. So it's like, okay, they're both accused of the same thing, and they're both pretty much been proven to both be pretty toxic, at least towards each other. So if you're going to punish one,
I think for a lot of people, it does represent a very real problem that domestic violence against men is not taken seriously.
Yeah. I mean, and the people who, I mean, especially men who it has legitimately happened to, where they weren't heard or maybe teased because you're a guy, you're supposed to be tougher than that. I'm telling you, guys, I've been through a divorce too, and I felt like when things were unfair, I felt like the walls were caving in on me sometimes too. Luckily, it didn't turn me into a person who thinks that it's always happening, because I was lucky in the end. But I can see why some people go, and vice versa. I mean, just for example, like if a woman is insulted or attacked or something like that, then and when they feel like they're probably in that same scenario or could even come anywhere near, like I'm sure if a person's been in that situation, I'm sure she's gonna be quick to say, or there's a lot of women that might say, don't ever like grab at my arm again, and or don't ever think that you can just like approach me and put your hand on my shoulder when we're having a conversation or something like that, because for reasons that probably happened to her in the past. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. So it makes sense that a lot of people would feel like she was let off the hook, or Amber Heard. When she's also accused of the same exact thing. And it's
the duality of like, well, this is what happened to him. Why isn't it happening to her?
And
it's a very, very fair question.
The only answer to that one is that when he sued or countersued or whatever he did in their lawsuit in London, in England, it went against him because it was like, well, that was a very specific like libel lawsuit. Yeah, like, but she was able to. It didn't have anything to do with the actual. I mean, it did in that it was like reporting on the crime, but that was more about like how the press is allowed to talk about the case. Right. What happened with that again? It was like the press had said that it said something like he was an abuser, right?
Yeah.
They printed
him
that
like
an abuser.
Abusive. And I guess the laws in England are pretty specific on like what can even qualify as libel. So they lost the case.
So, he lost the case because there was evidence that and it wouldn't. And the thing is, the weird thing about it is that wouldn't have happened to him if he didn't try to sue for libel. He opened the door to his attackers, and the law turned against him on it. And so it was right after that. That's when Warner Brothers then started taking things away. So it's just who knows?
It's all been very.
It's been very complicated. I'm not an expert on it.
That's the short version, to my understanding. I'm sure there's a million.
That's the long short version. I'm sorry.
There's articles you can Google, Paul, if you need.
That would be me. Just Google it.
Randy J. Gorilla Glue Girl? Yeah. So Randy J said, I was looking forward to the lawsuit. If I was Gorilla Glue, I would pay her off so that they would own the rights to the video and the photographs. Can you imagine the advertising campaign?
Well,
I mean, that'd be like the like crazy glue with the little person they like.
Oh yeah, do you remember those old commercials? The whole, but the thing about it is, she posted on her account like she was never ever intending to sue them. She knew what she did.
Yeah,
and she admitted it herself.
She kind of got a raw deal, honestly. Like, I'm not saying what she did was not a bad or potentially dumb decision, but like she was getting like death threats and stuff for a minute.
A lot of people do that.
She literally was like trying to raise money to get surgery or something. She just literally needed the surgery.
Yeah, nothing was working, and then the people who said that they could try a procedure to get that glue out of her hair, they said it was going to cost a crazy amount of money. So there was a GoFundMe to raise that money for her. She raised it and then some. Then a doctor in California said, "No, I'll do it for free."
But I believe she's since donated that money.
I didn't look into it afterwards, but that's what people were mad about.
I read an article about her, and she's like, "Look, I wasn't intending to go viral. This was not,
Yeah, every response from her has been pretty logical, and
Yeah.
I was never.
will say she is 40, which
I was about to go there. She is a grown. I assume because it was we talked about this on one of the Friday episodes with me and Amanda, and she broke that news to me for the first time. I was like, wait, she's how old?
Yeah,
that's why people were like so shocked, because I assumed that she was like a young 20s and just made a silly mistake. And it was and
listen, we're all bored as hell in the pandemic. Like, I get it.
we were too invested, but for her to get threats because other people were putting words in her mouth that she was gonna sue and she was gonna do these things that she never said, was ridiculous. It was everybody was blowing it out of proportion, but she wasn't.
But I do 100% agree with Randy here that they should buy the rights, and
I don't think they want that publicity.
Advertising campaign. It'd be so funny. It would be great. It would be super good.
I think then they would open themselves up to a lawsuit of like, look.
Yeah, I guess the disclaimer you'd need on that, on like, to be clear, we are not hair gel.
Exactly, because I heard that there was another product for hair gel that says Gorilla on it, and then she cleared that up too. She's like, no, I knew it was Gorilla Glue. Yes, I knew it said don't spray. She cleared it all up.
She owned it.
Yeah, I give it
that she wasn't going in like trying to sue or trying to. I respect it.
And I guess that was a credit to it, and that's why I believed it when they said that she was the age that she was, because okay, she's acting like a mature person about it and whatnot. I'm telling you, if it was me, I'd probably be the same way. But my 35-year-old self, oh man, I'd have sued.
Every penny Gorilla Glue's got, it's mine.
But now that I'm over 40, I'm like, it is what it is. All right, what's the next?
Disney regained the rights to Jessica Jones and the Punisher, and Graham asks, what does this mean exactly?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Ram. It means that Disney now has the rights to the Punisher.
So are we thinking we'll see them in the MCU to some capacity?
It means that they could, but no. It's a hard thing. It's a hard question. The Punisher, for example, the Punisher, that's a rated R character. I mean, we are going to get a rated R Deadpool because that's been proven to be $1 billion franchise and everything. Punisher was very well, highly raved about and accepted for that Netflix version. But here's the short answer. Kevin Feige and that guy who ran, I forgot his name, that guy who ran those TV shows for Netflix, they did not get along at all. Yeah. And for one point, he was, Kevin Feige had to report to him. And then when Kevin Feige kept making Disney billions upon billions upon billions, then Disney was like, all right, no, you don't have to report to that guy anymore. You're just reporting directly to the big, look, let's disassociate. And he's loved it ever since. He doesn't want to be associated with that version of the character. So now that Netflix doesn't have...
in short, what this means is probably nothing.
There's not... Yeah, probably not. I mean, they could use Jessica Jones, but they also could use Daredevil and all those other characters. He might in the future...
Us to Tom Velosa's question, who does ask, what about Daredevil?
It means the same thing. They've already had Daredevil's rights a little bit before that. It was all around the same time when Netflix said that they were canceling those all those shows. So yeah, the Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Nick Cage, and Luke Cage. I just lost my geek card. Nick Cage.
They own him now.
Disney owns everything, man.
Honestly, if Disney offered him enough money, he would.
I mean, he was the MCU's ghostwriter for Fox.
Oh no, I'm just saying he'd be like literally just
whatever.
Nick Cage is trying to bring back like old Hollywood like studio contracts, like please.
Yeah, he's an extra. He's like, I'll do it.
But
it just means that they have the rights to those and they could use it. But Kevin Feige, if he's gonna reboot those if he ever decides to use them in the future.
Yeah. Scully on the Gina Carano. Buckle up. We got Gina Carano comments. Scully says, so we're going to destroy people's livelihood for saying shit. Kind of proving Gina Carano's point. One side says it and nothing. Other side says it and people lose their shit. I looked at a post she posted, was not bad. Disney is the evil empire and people are sheep. Anyone notice she's #1 on IMDb now?
Let me start with that IMDb comment now. Of course she's #1 on IMDb.
Yeah.
She was
trending. Who the hell is this?
Yeah, they're looking her up. that doesn't indicate how famous she is. I'm like, I'm like.
No, there's a difference between good attention and bad attention, and she was certainly in the limelight, and I think she will certainly parlay this into some degree of a career.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be a career that she could have had if she had kept her mouth shut.
In comparison.
But at the end of the day, Disney has a brand to protect, and if one side is saying things where they need to go, you need to kind of quiet down and shut up, and you do, and what you said was not as aggressively against their brand, and someone else is saying things that are very unquestionably offensive and against brand, and then does not stop talking. She had her chance.
What's his name?
They were letting it slide.
Was it Peter Pascal? You just gave
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Yeah, you just gave the perfect example to what happened with him. He said something from a left-leaning point of view, and Disney had the same sit down with him. Yep. We don't want to be associated with this. We don't. We're paying you to act in this. We're not paying you to take on your whatever you got going on Twitter and your political side of it. We don't want to. We're getting questions and emails about firing you and stuff because of what you're doing offset and in your personal time, and we don't want to have that anymore.
I guess all I really have to say to this, and I don't have too much I even want to invest, but she knew what she was doing. She's an adult. Her actions had consequences.
Yeah.
Disney, as her employer, had the right to react how they wanted to these statements she was making when she is a public figure and part of their brand. We're not saying destroy her livelihood. Look, she was on Ben Shapiro. If she can go out there and wants to be some sort of right-wing talking head, or finds directors and production companies that are willing to back her and work with her, I don't think anyone's saying she should not be allowed to work ever again.
Right.
As a consumer, I have the right to say, okay, I don't want to go see that movie because I don't want to support this company that wanted to work with her. I'm not saying I would or I wouldn't, but that's my right as a consumer.
Right.
It's a company's right to decide whether or not they want to hire her. And to act like that's just not for how much the right wing is like capitalism, free market. They sure hate when
that stuff is used against. And this is nothing new. People get fired all the time. Go to. I mean, perfect example. Go to a Christian bookstore, and they have a dress code. They have a uniform. You got your badge on there, and you're like, I want to go in there and I want to wear Satan Rocks on my uniform and see what happens. You're probably going to get a warning, and then if you do it again, you're probably going to get fired. Does all of that person's fans and friends get to yell and be like, well, no, that's not fair. You're just trying to pile on against it because he just happens to be a Satan worshiper. Yeah, okay, that's fine. We're not stopping him from doing what he wants to do. We're just saying we don't want to be associated with it.
If you're being straight up offensive online, bank managers get fired. You're putting your opinion out there, and if you're tied into a brand, and of course she's tied in with Disney. That is an incredibly brand focused company, and they were getting negative feedback, and they made the financial decision that they needed to make or wanted to make. So
they like to bring
it's
toys
not about
to life.
destroying someone's livelihood. It's about Disney as a company and has the right to make decisions regarding hiring and firing. Also, she's an actress. That's just the toughest business in the world. And if your brand is not, you know what I mean though? In terms of getting hired and fired, it's an industry where you can actually get fired for gaining 5 pounds or for,
this is capitalism.
It's one of the few where it really is we absolutely have the right to just cut the cord if we don't want you here.
It's funny to me how half of the majority of these people that are supporting her, and I understand why they're supporting her. You guys yourselves, the people, Calle, my friend, look, let's just be honest. You probably would not have done what she did. Let's just be honest. If your employer told
you're making that Disney money,
if you're a Disney employer, or wherever you work, said, hey, you just said something about the Holocaust on your Facebook or your Twitter feed. I saw that yesterday. Don't do that again. You're probably not going to do it again. So why are we trying to uplift the that's what I get. I have a problem with celebrity worshiping sometimes. I'm like, you don't know Gina Carano. Everybody has, there's always a consequence to something. Hey, I'm a real estate broker. I had an agent that used to work for me years ago, and then recently said something stupid online, and I got a phone call. Like, do you know this lady? I'm like, she said, what? I haven't worked with her in years, and I didn't find out what happened afterwards, but it happens. I have the right to disassociate myself. So does Disney. And Scully, my friend, you probably wouldn't have done what Gina did. So she's a grown woman. Let's let her live. Let's let her do her thing. That's what she want to do. That's what she want to do. All right. What's the last one?
Our final mail of the week. Jack Frost asks, why do people insist on putting spoilers right in your face for a show that isn't even finished yet?
You know why Jack was kind of mad at me. I think this is directed at me. I think I posted something about Mephisto Wanda Vision, and it wasn't a spoiler or anything like that. But he was just like the question or the poll, I guess, for We Got Your Vote was generating that buzz. And I think if I remember correctly, Jack was saying, or I think Jack said that he knows that WandaVision is started a couple of weeks ago, but he wants to wait to watch it when it's all done. And if I remember correctly, I think we had this conversation about. I was like, but that's the risk. It's just like I use a sports analogy.
Can I just say?
Go ahead.
I think a couple of a day or two is kind of common courtesy. In that way, like when a big movie drops, there's probably that I would say month or two window of give people a solid shot to see it if they're worried about spoilers. If something's dropping week to week, I think I saw a WandaVision spoiler Friday. And it was just dude, I didn't stay up till midnight to watch it. I got a job, I'm busy. Can you give me until Saturday to watch it? I think at least by the end of that weekend is kind of common courtesy before, or do the spoiler ahead and let people decide.
Yeah, that's true, and that's valid. And there are those common courtesy things, but on the other side of it, it's I guess on the flip side, when you have the week-to-week shows, like the prime time shows, like when Friends would come on at 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern, whatever your time zone is.
Spoilers are? She got off the plane.
But I mean, you would watch it at night, go to bed, wake up in the morning.
Could be any more.
I mean,
snarky.
But you go to work. It's like 12 hours later, and that's why they call them a water cooler show. And then people go to work and did you see Friends last night? Did you see this last? So I mean,
I found out that Joey slept with a lady. I'm gonna be so mad.
I'm telling you, the things. I mean, but these are shows. I mean, when it's movies, then people kind of know. Hey, did you go see that movie? That just usually the first question. Have you seen this movie? Then the question is, and the answer is no.
Yeah, but I think the nature of TV has shifted slightly.
Yeah, with streaming, because everybody assumes that everybody has Netflix and everybody has these.
And I think we're creating TV that's more on a
on-demand stuff,
thematic level.
People,
because there really isn't a spoiler you could make about Friends that would be life-shattering, but Breaking Bad.
Yeah, but I think WandaVision fits in that category too. It's on a week-to-week basis, and they have these exciting things that happen almost in every episode.
And I'm saying, give people a day or two.
I mean, but
some of us have jobs.
I understand giving people time, but I also at the same time can't be mad at people who are excited to find out and talk about it with their friends the next day, after, just like those prime time shows.
I feel like I saw someone who literally just tweeted about it, and it's just you don't need to.
Yeah, but I think my response to him was that we know that the internet exists, and we know, even if you know that I would try to give you time, or if maybe I'm one of your friends in your circles that's going to give you time, and I'm not going to spoil it. If you get on your phone, you do know that there are other people who aren't following, your personal rules. So the risk is still there. We all know how the internet works. And so I would say,
I don't, but that's another issue for another day.
It's the risk of being spoiled. It's just like me saying, because I gave a pay-per-view example. If you watch a UFC fight, you can't expect people not to talk about that the next day. And he said, well, that's not a good example because you have to pay to watch. I'm like, okay, here's a better example. The Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. After every game that they played,
spoilers. I got that on
right?
DVR.
There you go.
But that's also in the newspaper. I think sports are a bad analogy. I
don't
would
see
compare it
I don't
more
see
to
how.
like,
But for me, the analogy is the event happened and people talk about the results the day after.
no, I would put it more on par with a movie. And I think with the new wave of TV, we should treat it with a little more. And again, I understand on week-to-week shows, it gets a little harder. But like with binging, like especially when they drop a series all at once, give people about the same time bubble you would give them for like Avengers Endgame. Like people were really respectful, I thought, for the most part of like,
Because
and
it was
like,
I see what you're saying. I
it
just
might
don't
be agree
agree.
to disagree, and like let us know in the comments
But
if y'all feel one way or the
Wait,
other.
who's
about
winning
it.
this fight? Right? No, but the only reason why I don't see it that way for movies is because people know that to go to see that movie, you have to get up, go out to that theater, go pay
Yeah,
for your
but there's
ticket,
also
and go
like
see it.
85 things I'm supposed to be watching at any given time.
But nobody knows that on a personal level. Like nobody knows whether or not you got up to go to that theater to see that movie. Nobody knows that you have. Some people might think that it's the
Yeah, so
the
why
TV
shouldn't
show.
you just be kind of base level respectful and not drop like giant spoilers without some kind of warning? Like just tweeting like the biggest spoiler of a movie is a dick move.
Yeah, but I think the one thing we both proved here is there are people online that think one way about being tactful about it. About spoilers, and then there are people that think the other way. There's some people that are like, hey, this is a TV show. I know I'm gonna assume that you might have Netflix or Disney Plus, and you have the ability to catch it. And I don't have to follow your personal house rules about waiting until the whole thing is over, because we're talking about it now. And then there are other people that are like, spoilers, guys. Where did you see it? You didn't? Okay, I won't talk about it. And
Yeah.
And we take that risk. If you turn that phone on and search online, you might be bumping into this guy. You might be bumping into that guy. So I just say put your what's those blinders that horses get? Just get that carrot and dangle
Blinders.
it.
I think they're literally just
they're
called
just blinders.
blinders.
Get your Wanda Vision blinders on, dangle that carrot, and if I spoiled it for you, I apologize. I don't. If spoilers matters to you.
I mean, don't watch a media talk show.
Yeah. Don't come here and think I'm not going to talk about WandaVision, because I'm going to talk about it.
There we go. That's our mail.
Yeah, that's the mail. So
Mailbox empty.
let us know where side you land on. Are you on Amy's side of the what you think about spoilers, or are you on the right side? No, I'm just joking. Let us know what you guys think about it. And like I said, we'll talk about it here on the show. On maybe on the next We Got Your Mail. But put it in the box and tell us your thoughts and comments on things as always. And because we like talking about it. Like I said, this is a show by fans for fans. So until next time, guys. I'm Chris. What was your name again? Amy? Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert. Amy Newman. Check her out on amy.n.newman on, what's that, Twitter?
Instagram.
That's what I said. And you can find me online as Chris Fagan 1980 on both the gram and the Twitter. And we'll see you next time, guys. All right.
If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe to the channel and please drop a like on this video. It really does help us. Also, don't forget you can turn on notifications so you don't miss a single review, react, why is that trending, or We Got Your Mail.